Bing, boing, bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip. Hey guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. Everybody does have a story to tell, but nobody takes the time to listen until now. Guys, Wade Wilson, unalived two women that we know of because he confessed to it. He confessed to it, and ultimately, the person that he confessed to, which was his ex-girlfriend, but at the time, his girlfriend, whose car he stole, and then went ahead and didn't even know how to drive the car, and then went ahead and had sex with somebody else while having the car. And this woman decided she wasn't going to take this anymore. The guy gets physical with her. That'd be Wade Wilson. And she ends up getting him to confess on a prison phone call. That's recorded, and that says that it's probably going to be recorded. Mila! Now, Mila's spa was burnt. And why do we think it was burnt? Well, we think because maybe, just possibly, Wade Wilson put a hit on it. Wade Wilson, who's incarcerated, but no longer, though he has the death penalty, he's no longer on death row. According to Jumpsuit Pablo, Wade Wilson has been rewarded for all of his bad actions. His bad actions being that he was caught planning an escape. He was caught with having somebody throw DRUGS over the wall. He was caught with having stuff in his bum hole. And he was caught HIGH while incarcerated. Wade Wilson hasn't been able to follow the rules, and I think at one point he had his junk in somebody else's mouth when they woke up. So he's actually assaulted people. But has the DOC in Florida said, we no longer want to be responsible for Wade Wilson, and we no longer want to really protect him anymore. So let's get him out of here, and let's put him over here.
Wade Wilson is no longer on death row, or any form of isolation or solitary confinement whatsoever, for that matter, despite being given the death penalty, which pretty much requires the inmate to be housed on death row all by themselves. In fact, info from Florida Department of Corrections' own website and database shows he has it better than ever these days. But one thing about where he's at now, it leaves a major opportunity open for karma to come his way at the hands of a dangerous inmate.
Why? They're not going to go ahead and reward somebody for bad behavior. But I can see where maybe they're done with him and they figure, let prison punishment happen. Now, when I say prison punishment, I mean at the hands of other inmates, because that stuff happens all the time. Here's the truth, guys. The workforce in America is so understaffed. And right now, the Justice Department, the cops, the people that work in corrections, they're understaffed. Understaffed with a lot of dangerous people. The ratio sometimes could be 200 inmates to one guard. What kind of chance does somebody have there? There is no chance of somebody if they behave badly, because that guard's going to be in a lot of trouble. So what do the guards do? Well, they pretty much want to keep the inmates as busy as possible so that they're not any kind of problem for the one guard who's got 1 to 200 inmates. That's a lot of inmates per one guard. There is no chance. So all you can do is basically let the inmate do whatever the inmate wants to do. Now, you take a turn in one of these facilities and the cameras aren't everywhere. I know for a fact that the cameras are not everywhere. And it's very easy for somebody to step in camera, throw something up on a camera, get in the way of a camera, manipulate a camera, turn off a camera. Is Wade Wilson going to get out of the facility that he's currently in? And why is he in there? Do you think on death row, usually one man to a cell, a lot of times 23 hours in that cell? But you know what? That's isolation. And it seems to be a human right that you can't put somebody in a cell indefinitely like that, because it makes them crazy. But what happens when somebody's already crazy? like Wade Wilson, do you really put him out? I'm not saying he's in general population. I don't think he's in general population. I don't think he's around good guys. Is there any good guys there? But why did Wade Wilson get moved? Was he too much trouble where he was at? Was his human rights, were they being challenged by maybe a lawyer saying, no, you can't keep him in isolation for so long. You can't do that. Wade Wilson lost all of his privileges. Remember? They were taken from him. He couldn't use his tablet, couldn't get on the phone, lost all of his privileges for bad behavior. So how did he possibly go from one facility to another facility, and then Mila's spa gets torched? That's what it looks like. That's what happened. Mila's spa went up in flames. Wade Wilson has been known to do things from behind bars. He's got women. He still has women, desperate women, but nonetheless, women. He also had, believe it or not, this is incredibly sad and unbelievable, and I'm going to let Jumpsuit Pablo tell you a little bit about this.
Just setting the record straight, there is a world of difference between jail and prison. Jail, after a while, just begins to suck. It's much more limited and closed off, and the privileges and just the things. You can have so much more fun in prison. You can have cell phones. You can do drugs. You can get drunk. You can drink prison wine. You can have sex with women correction officers. You can get on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. You can FaceTime with women and cash app them 30, 40, 50 bucks. For them to strip for you, and you can get your, get your jollies off.
So Jumpsuit Pablo, who has done 10 years in prison and has only been out for a couple years now, is very familiar with how things go in especially the Carolina facilities where he's from. But he also, because, inmates, they're not really, some travel and they know each other in totally different other facilities. And with the position that Jumpsuit Pablo has now as a YouTube creator and an influencer, a content creator, he's able to have people reach out to him, and he's able to know a lot about things. So I highly recommend his channel. I've been following him for a while now, basically since he started his channel. And he's got a lot of information. It makes a lot of sense. And he knows how inmates think. And thankfully, he only uses that as far as in his podcasts now and in his videos. No longer practices that behavior, I believe. So therefore, he's an asset to this community. I love his channel, and I know a lot of you guys follow him. But he has his own theories about things, and obviously he knows a lot more than me. And he has connections inside there. And there's things that Jumpsuit Pablo has said that I definitely want to talk about, as far as why people want to go to prison as opposed to jail. And that's 1,000% true. That was 1,000% true over 20 years ago, over 30 years ago, when I was working in the facilities. What's inside these correctional facilities, as far as the state-run facilities and as far as the county jail facilities, very limited in county jail. County jail is only meant to keep inmates for a short period of time, where people could spend entire lifetimes, decades, generations in prison. So there's classes in prison, there's workshops in prison, there's crafts in prison, where in the county jail, you might be able to become a trustee by working in a kitchen, working in the commissary, working in the laundry, working at just sweeping and mopping the floors, wiping things down, But there's a lot more in the prison facilities, and therefore a lot more opportunity for things to be manipulated and taken advantage of. And again, because of the understaff and the workforce in the United States right now, the inmates are definitely running the show there, and there are. I mean, Jumpsuit Pablo talks about, a certain kind of deputy that, or a certain kind of CO. Where I worked, because it was a county facility, the deputies were the same guys that were out in the cars running the streets. So it was just they had the same training. So one of the deputies who might be working in the facility for a year or two, then later might be gone out on the streets in, a cruiser and stuff. So totally different where I work. But I have seen in the prisons how deputies and people, case managers and such in those facilities are just looking at paychecks, and they're not doing much except punching a time clock. And being, again, the way that the workforce is right now, that's more than what you get half the time, which is really sad, very sad, especially when you have so many inmates that only have time to spend time to think about things and how to get away with things. People like Wade Wilson are dangerous when it comes to time, people, and chances, opportunities, things that we wouldn't think about because we have other things occupying our mind. But when all you're thinking about is, how the hell do I get out of here? How do I get one up on these people? And then you have other people thinking the same exact thing. They could be very creative. Guys, listen to some of this. I want to share some of this with you and tell me what you think about what's going on here. Why did they move Wade Wilson? The hell?
It's just so fun. It's so much more fun in prison. And that's just the truth. This is 2025. Anyone who says different probably went to jail 10 to 15 years ago. I just got out 2.5, 3 years ago. 2025, man, inmates are having a good old time. They're playing poker. They're using cell phones to scam PD files on dating apps. They're getting $4, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a pop off of these guys by extorting them. And they're getting that all sent to their cash apps, and they are living large. I mean, a lot of these guys have more money in prison than the guys outside of prison. And it's great. It's honestly, I mean, there's nothing you can't do in prison that you can't do outside of prison, other than, like, your little things like walk to your mailbox and check your mail and walk your dog around the neighborhood. I mean, I get that.
About what's going on here. Why did they move Wade Wilson?
Wade Wilson copycat just hit the internet. Seriously, this guy and this story is insane. Now, we all know Wade Wilson, the lunatic with his face covered in crazy tattoos, who unalived 2 innocent women and grew a worldwide army online of fangirls who ruined their lives, marriages, and finances for him. But do you know about this guy? Brandon Shuig. He lived in Lee County, Florida during the rise of Wade Wilson and idolized him. Everything about him wanted to become Wade Wilson. He thought he was so cool. He wanted to be him so much that he even got the same infamous Stitch smile tattoo as Wade Wilson. He became so obsessed with Wade Wilson, but this whole obsession of wanting to be Wade has come full circle now, almost a year later, when I received an email from Brandon Shuig from inside a jail asking my permission for him to have communication with me. What is he arrested for? Murder.
The hell? What do you think of this kid? This kid that is now in there for MURDER so that he could be like Wade Wilson. What are we teaching people? This is not good. Not good at all. Guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. Nobody takes the time to listen until now. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I have another channel, Issues with Toddy One Skip. Check me out over there too. Please, guys. Thanks, and have a great day. Bing, boing, bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip.